The elevator seemed to take an age to reach the level the bridge was on, and Jamie had almost begun to come down from his adrenaline rush. He was still working himself up, getting pumped as the doors opened, and he looked at the Sarlan officer, who had turned an interesting shade of pink. His fear and the recent traumatic journey courtesy of Jamie no doubt causing a biological reaction within him. "Straight down this corridor, then to the left when you see this sign," he said, showing Jamie a pictogram of Sarlan writing under what looked to Jamie like a picture of Saturn. "The bridge will be at the end of that hallway, about 40 of your meters." Jamie merely grunted in response as he gripped the edge of the elevator door, every sinew in his body tingling and ready. He belatedly noticed that from just his grip he had dented the doorframe, but had no time to wonder about that as he crept into the corridor, ears pricked for the slightest sound. He heard it, a blood-curdling screech the likes of which he'd never heard, followed closely by the sounds of a fight and profuse swearing. "That's Reggie," thought Jamie, picking up the pace. Following the noises, his earlier directions from the young Sarlan completely unnecessary, he eventually rounded the corner to a grisly sight, and a different scream entirely. Reggie had been downed by what looked to Jamie like a Sarlan that had been fed on a diet of nightmare fuel, and it seemed to be attempting to finish him off, the juices and blood mingling on the walls and floor making a horrific contrast to the normally pleasing eggshell blue of the metal corridors. Reggie was fighting for his life, barely keeping the snapping jaws of the alien at bay, swearing and grappling with it as Jamie began running towards them, his powerful muscular frame propelling him forwards at breakneck speeds in the low gravity and thin air. The creature looked up from its quarry, noticing the new threat, and screeched again, small chunks of metal still stuck in its maw, as Reggie took this opportunity to try and roll away from it, gaining a new slash along his back as it attempted to prevent his escape. It was at this moment that Jamie slammed into the side of the creature with a flying punch, the noise of which reverberated through the corridor loudly, no doubt at cracking at least one of the monster's subcutaneous plates and sending it flying through the air, screeching and scrabbling wildly. With no time to exchange words of any kind, Jamie glanced at Reggie, both nodding in an almost extrasensory display of understanding as they separated to either side of the corridor. Reggie still bleeding heavily from cuts in his leg, shoulder, and forearm, but clearly determined to put an end to this abhorrent creature. The creature scrabbled to its feet and rushed them, its madness palpable, any semblance of a mind clearly gone as it tried to attack Reggie once more. Sensing his weakness and the fact that he held far more aluminium than the barely clothed newcomer. As it rushed Reggie, just as they had known it would, Jamie caught its midriff from the side, adjusting slightly so that he was behind it, lifting it off the floor easily. Reggie adeptly dodged the legs and arms flailing haphazardly in the air, and aimed a hammer fist at the creature's head, missing narrowly as the creature thrashed around in Jamie's grip. "We need to get it to cargo," panted Reggie, trying desperately to land as many blows as possible and dodge its limbs as Jamie struggled to keep his grip on the thrashing monster. Jamie had a sudden thought, hearkening back to his days on 487B. "Rope!" he bellowed, startling Reggie as he continued to wrestle the beast. Reggie gave him a quick look and communicated, "I need 2 minutes, okay?" As he looked into Jamie's eyes, the look in them all he needed as affirmation. As Reggie jogged away to head to the nearest locker, Jamie continued to wrestle the beast as it swung wildly one way and the other, with some swipes of its clawed arms ripping holes in the thin metal skin of the corridor, succeeding eventually in turning enough to sink its jaws into Jamie's shoulder and neck. Realizing the danger of this, Jamie stopped grappling it and punched it as hard as he could in the face in an uppercut, then brought a hammer fist down onto it that would have turned most creatures into pink mist, causing the monstrous ex-captain to stumble backwards, momentarily dazed. Wasting no time and not expecting Reggie to come back for a while, Jamie launched himself once more into the fray, bellowing as he flew at the creature, knocking it to the floor and managing to get a grip on its neck and using his free hand to try and bat away the lethal claws on its forelimbs as it tried to battle him on the floor. He was unsuccessful, though, and caught a claw to the chest as he was trying to regain its back, rending him open like a scalpel and causing blood to pour from the wound. The adrenaline the only thing keeping Jamie in the fight, he gripped it from behind around the neck and grabbed one of the creature's arms, attempting to pin it face down against the floor as it bucked and screamed like a wild bronco. Just as Jamie was beginning to marvel at its endurance, Reggie rounded the corner carrying a large silver case, much to Jamie's relief. As Reggie approached, the creature thrashed with renewed vigor, causing Jamie's muscles to strain and making him pant. Busting open the case unceremoniously, Reggie pulled out what looked like handcuffs and grabbed one of the creature's arms, shoving it into the sound of a metallic hum as it tightened like a snake around its wrist. Then quickly reaching under, Jamie grabbed the creature's other wrist as it wriggled and thrashed, screeching like a banshee, pulling it in behind the creature to meet its other wrist, effectively disabling its arms. As Jamie repositioned, they restrained the creature's legs in a similar way, as Reggie said, "In 3, we'll move it to the elevator. I'll clear the path." As he used the comms link sending the message, "All crew, remain in lockdown. Special care. Clear route in red, shown on ship schematic," as he mentally drew a line for their path to the cargo bay. Jamie and Reggie panted as they carried the creature, still fighting hard and trying to bite them through the corridors towards the elevator to be greeted by the terrified Sarlan officer and crewmen. "Get out of the damn way!" shouted Reggie as they seemed to shake themselves slightly and dart out of the elevator and around them, narrowly missing bites from the restrained beast. The rest of the journey went without incident, the two men wrestling the creature into Jamie's former room in the cargo bay, as Reggie signaled engineering to envelope the room in a Stage 1 force field. Reggie turned to Jamie and his warm face finally broke into a weak smile as he said, "I knew it," passing out mid-sentence. "Reggie!" Jamie shouted, catching him before he hit the floor. "Jewett, come to the cargo bay! Reggie is hurt!" Jamie tried to use the communicator, unsure if it made it through.